Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the final year project lecture series at the Faculty of Agro-Based Industry, University Malaysia Kelantan. My name is Muhammad, a lecturer from the faculty. This time, I will be talking about one of the most important but often overlooked topic in academic writing, especially for novice, plagiarism and citation. On the first chapter, we were talking about the fundamental principle of plagiarism, how Turnitin works, how to understand similarity score, and the importance of using correct citation to avoid plagiarism. Then, on the chapter 2, you were exposed further into the concept of citation, about when is a piece of information must be cited. On this final chapter of the series, we will go with the correct ways to write a citation for your academic writing. In UMK, a citation for a thesis must use a certain type of citation style from the American Psychological Association, or commonly referred to as the APA style. The most recent version of APA is the 7th edition, which was updated last year in 2019. However, you are allowed to use either 6th or 7th edition, but it must be standardized and consistent throughout the thesis. If the beginning of the thesis in the 6th edition, you must use 6th edition until the end of the thesis. You cannot change somewhere in the middle. Other than APA style, there are many more available and used by others, such as MLA, Chicago, IEEE, and CSE. The usage of particular citation style is dependent on the institution. Some of the differences are, for example, while reference list is put at the end of an article in APA style, Chicago will have bibliography page, while MLA will have works cited list at the end of the work. Anyway, you don't have to worry about that for now, just focus on APA style as it is the one you need to use. Compared to other citation style, APA stresses on the date of creation or publication. That's why date is written immediately after the author's name. The principle is simple. The name of the author or several authors followed by date of creation. This goes for every type of source with some little modifications. Okay, now let's start with the first source of information, quotation. If you find an article with a specific sentence, you may want to use quotation. However, as I have mentioned in the second chapter, only use quotation sparingly, as it might impact the readability and quality of your work. Fortunately for your thesis, the faculty have decided to give some leniency by excluding the requirement to put the page number. So you don't have to put the page numbers in parentheses after the quotation. Only author's last name followed by the year of publication in parentheses. No page number required. In case where there are two authors, you must put both of the author's last names followed by date in the parentheses. Please take note, if the author's name were written in a signal phrase, you will have to spell A and D and, while if it is written in parentheses, you must use the ampersand symbol, as you can see here in the red box. What if there is more than two authors? How should we write the citation? Well, here is where it gets a little bit complicated, just a little bit. There are two ways to do this, based on either APA 6th edition or 7th edition. To simplify, I will start with the 6th edition first. If the authors are between 3 and 5 persons, you must write all of their last name for the first time you cite the source. For example, here we have Berkowitz, Warden, Toshakovich, and Cronquist, 4 authors. So you must identify all 4 authors for the first time you cite the source. In subsequent citation, however, just use the first author's name followed by et al. First time citation, write all the author's name, while subsequent citation, just use the first author's name followed by et al. And et al. Is not written in italic. Sometimes, more than 5% co-write a paper, and this is not common in large studies on landmark papers where sometimes there were thousands of co-authors writing the paper. In this case, where there are 6 and more authors, you may use the first author's name straight away, followed by et al. So unlike 3 to 5 authors, where you have to write all the name in the first citation, a citation for 6 and more authors can use et al. Straight away. Here you can see the summary for APA 6 edition. Basically, the principle is the same: author's name and year of creation. For one author, write his name and the year for both first time and subsequent citation. 2 authors also the same. Write both of the name and the year for the first time and subsequent citation. However, for 3 and 5 authors, all names for the first time and only first authors for subsequent citation. Then, for paper with 6 or more authors, you only write the first author's name and the year for both first time and subsequent citation. While in APA 7th edition, they revised the format to make it easier. For 1 and 2 authors, write the name and the year for both first time and subsequent citation, while for 3 or more authors, you may use the first author's name followed by et al. Immediately. So I would say this version is easier. However, it is up to you which edition you want to use. Either 6th or 7th, both will be accepted. You just have to make it consistent throughout your thesis. Choose one and stick for it for the whole thesis. Do not keep changing between 6th and 7th everywhere in the thesis. Then when you write the full citation in the reference list at the end of your thesis, APA 6th edition stated that you must use an ellipsis, the triple dots, to replace all authors between the 6th author and the last author. So there will be no more than 7 authors are listed in one full citation, as you can see in the example. In APA 7th edition, however, the full citation must include up to and including 20 authors. If there are more than 20 authors, then you must use an ellipsis, the triple dots, to replace all authors between the 19th and final author. So there will be no more than 20 authors are listed in one full citation, as you can see in the example. Then what about the author's name is not a person, but an organization, a company, or government agency? Well, you must write the full name of the organization the first time you cite the source. However, if the organization has a familiar abbreviation, you may include it in brackets the first time you cite the source and just use the abbreviation in later citation. For example, National Institute of Mental Health, which NIMH is the abbreviation. So for the first time, you must write the organization's full name, National Institute of Mental Health, followed by the abbreviation in brackets. Later, when you are going to cite from the same source again, you just have to write NIMH, followed by the year of publication. Same goes to other organizations that has familiar abbreviation, such as World Health Organization, WHO, Food and Agriculture, FAO, or United Nations, the UN. Another scenario is when the author published 2 or more works in the same year. Sometimes these researchers were so productive they might write and publish more than 10 papers in a year. In that case, you may write the citation as usual by putting lowercase letters A, B, C, and so on with the year to order the entries. If in the body of your thesis you wrote Durgin 2003b, for example, you must also wrote Durgin 2003b in the reference list at the end of your thesis to refer to the same source. Sometimes, you have found more than one works which were telling the same thing in one citation. This might happen when you said, for example, multiple studies have shown that, or many authors claim that. For you to prove that what you were saying is true, where there were multiple studies and many authors, you must put two or more sources to back up your claim, right? You cannot say there were multiple studies or many authors and then just give only one work. So to combine those multiple works, you must put them in the same alphabetical order that they appear in the reference list, separated by semicolons. In another time, you might found a good paper, but there was no date of creation can be traced. It's okay. You just can use the abbreviation ND for no date. In academic writing, one must always try to find the original paper of the author. However, it might be difficult or simply impossible, especially if the original paper is old. In this case, you can use indirect source. It refers to a source that was cited in another source. You can do that by putting the secondary source in your reference list and include it in your parenthetical citation, preceded by words as cited in. Take a look at the example given. The author found some good work by Dr. David Satcher talking about obesity among young people, summarized in another work by Kritzer. The author, however, could not find the original paper by Dr. David Satcher. So in this case, Dr. David Satcher is the original source and Kritzer is the secondary source. Since the author only have the work by Kritzer, they can only cite Kritzer, not Dr. David Satcher. To cite that, the original source, in this case Dr. David Satcher, must be mentioned first in the signal phrase, then followed by a citation of secondary source by putting as cited in before the citation. So, as a conclusion, you must understand that here we are using APA style, which stresses on date of creation or publication of work. After last name of the author, it must always followed by year of creation. If there is no date available, just use ND for no date. Secondly, it doesn't matter which edition you're going to use, either 6th or 7th, but it is important to be consistent throughout your thesis. When writing your thesis, use less quotation. Even though it is acceptable from the point of citation style, it also will make your work boring and sounds lazy. Have more diversity in your writing structure. You also must understand basic differences on writing citation for 1, 2, or more authors, when to use et al, and when to use ellipses or the triple dots. And last but not least, primary source is always the best, but if it is unavailable, cite accordingly by putting as cited in before the citation of your secondary source. So this chapter covered main source of information that you might use, a peer-reviewed published papers. However, there are a lot more resources than that. For example, textbooks, websites, magazines, newspapers, and reports. So you may scan this QR code here to go to a website which will help you to create a customized interactive example of APA 7th edition for every type of sources. So that was all. Thank you for watching. Bye.